From the Leominster Lassie League field off Creasy Street in Leominster, we welcome you to this Rivalry Family Media coverage of high school softball. Another first year for Rivalry Family Media and media across the region. We bring you Rivalry softball action as Leominster gets set to play host to Fitchburg in their home opener, third game of the season for both teams. Alongside Bill Thomas and Kate Robbins, Todd Robbins for Rivalry Family Media. Happy to have you along with us, streaming along with us on Facebook Live for the next couple of hours, along with us in delay on our YouTube channel at Rivalry Family Media as well. We're happy to have you with us again for what will be a tremendous game today. And Kate, we'll turn to you first as the former softball coach. You get to be the one that kind of leads us off with our conversation. Of course, these two teams have changed dramatically over the years. There was a point in time where both of these teams were the class of the region. And then as the years have gone up for, softball in this general region, unfortunately, has started to take a turn for the worse as stick sports, particularly lacrosse, has cut into those three sport athletes getting involved with the sport of softball.
And we've talked about it in our lacrosse coverage last week. Right now, because of the addition of lacrosse to spring sports, you have the same amount of people going to a high school, and you have to have at least, approximately 20 athletes to be able to go and play. And then you have JV programs, JV2 programs, or freshman programs, middle school programs. And so it does tend to, water down the talent a little bit. Not to say that that isn't a phenomenal thing. I mean, if you have a sport that is developing in this area, then you're going to have more opportunities to play post-secondary lacrosse. So right now we are seeing a little bit of a dip in baseball, softball in the area, but still incredibly competitive. And right now you have Leominster and Fitchburg no longer in the same league.
Correct. Leominster maintaining their action in Midwatch A, and meanwhile Fitchburg has moved to Midwatch B.
Certainly. So right now you do have Midwatch A going up against Midwatch B. So the records, when we talk about the records, in my estimation, they're not going to mean much going into this one. I think that these two teams are going to be fairly evenly matched. So we will see how things go. You also have to remember going into April school vacation, both of these teams may not have their full complement with them. A lot of times you have student athletes that, if they're new to a program, they don't necessarily know what the drill is over April school vacation, that usually vacations are not permitted. So in some cases, you're not going to have your full complement. Having coached at Midwatch A for the last 6 years, that has certainly been a situation that I've found myself in on more than one occasion, where you are scraping by to get enough players to come on by. So that is what we're looking forward to today. Looking for a great matchup. I think that regardless of records, I think these teams are a little bit more evenly matched than they look like on paper. It is still early in the season. You have to remember that softball here in Massachusetts, particularly in Central Mass, is scheduled to start the first week of April. It never, invariably, it never starts the first week in April. So you're looking at this being essentially the second week of the season for most of these girls, and probably, second or third game. So they're really still trying to get their legs underneath them and kind of get their feet wet. That is, and April school vacation week, again, it can be a little bit tough because an 11 a.m. arrival at a ballpark for a 1 p.m. start is not what you are used to. Your routine is a little bit different. And so that can become a challenge for coaching staff as well. So we'll see how each of these teams acclimate to the 1 p.m. start, April school vacation, third game of the season, rivalry game. It'll be very interesting to see what happens. I think that one team will likely get off to a pretty fast start here, and we'll see the cream rise to the top, as it were.
Certainly. Fitchburg comes in having won their first two contests last week. Meanwhile, Leominster having dropped their first two. So obviously one team 2-0, the other 0-2. Third member of our broadcast team, Bill Thomas. Bill, we welcome you to your first high school softball game in many years.
Actually, every years, because I grew up with two boys. I grew up in a Little League Babe Ruth family, and so this is a little new to me, but I'm up for the challenge, and we'll see how much my baseball knowledge crosses over. Pre-coming on the air, I offered to take Kate's role and just be quiet, keeping stats over there and chime in, but I think she's going to do a great job, and I'm going to defer to Kate for a lot of what's going on today. I'm looking for a good game. One thing you did note, Kate, is that the records could be a little misleading. 2-0 Fitchburg, 0-2 Leominster. I have to say, in all the years, especially recent years, this is the first time a Leominster-Fitchburg matchup has presented itself where the Fitchburg team comes into the competition with a better record. We'll just have to see how that plays out, and if this early season record could be a foretelling of things to come.
And these two teams obviously have not gotten a chance to get out all that often, but thus far, although the weather this spring has been a little bit more beneficial, that you could get outside and be a little bit more developed. This is a circumstance where, you get these two teams, and we know this from just about, every other rivalry matchup that we've spent time with. We know anytime you put these two communities together, regardless of what they're competing in, both teams certainly looking to win.
Oh, absolutely, and I've learned that being a transplanted non-Fitchburg Leominster person for the last 10 years. I've come to really appreciate the rivalry, no matter what sport that the two schools and the two towns are competing in. But I just think that, like you said, no matter what the sport is, the anticipation is always there because of the basis of the rivalry. I mean, you can't get away from it.
Leominster takes the field. They will face a Fitchburg starting lineup that looks like this. Batting leadoff, number 8, Rebecca Sealine, the second baseman. In the 2-hole, the fourth player is Emma Auger, the shortstop, wearing number 4. Wearing 2 is Lainey Jaramillo. She's the third baseman. Batting cleanup, 11, Alicia Santos, the right fielder. Batting in the 5th hole, the number 7, Lucia Archipreti, the first baseman. Batting 6th, number 3, Elise Pierce, the center fielder. And batting 7th, the pitcher, number 22, Emily Burgess. Batting in the 8th spot, number 10, Soleil LeBlanc, the designated player. And then Sarah Sealine, the left fielder, will bat 9th for the Red Raiders as we get ready for action. First pitch of the game is underway a minute early, 12:59. Our first pitch as we get underway, called strike and a 0-1 count for the starting battery for Leominster. Liz Ledger gets the start. A strong cut and a miss there from Rebecca Sealine. She's in the hole 0-2 quickly. Ledger working with Pam Landry, the catcher. Swinging on the 0-2 count, ruled fair. Ball fielded by the first baseman, Laura Doobie, the tag made, and one away quickly on 3 pitches.
Great play by Laura Doobie there, picking that up. Ball to go foul. She saw an easy play in front of her. First instinct is maybe let it roll, but good job there to get that first out.
And that brings Emma Auger to the plate. She looks at the first offering from Liz Ledger, a ball off the plate, and a 1-0 count. Ledger's second pitch burns in knee high, called strike. Adam Tochi calls the balls and strikes, and John Caron will take the plays in the field. Ball popped up, swinging underneath it. There is Auger giving chase to the catcher Landry. Ball pops the top of the dugout out of play, and the count will go to 1-2. Ledger looks into Landry for the sign. The pitch off speed. Call ball down and away. Count evens 2 balls, 2 strikes. Defensive alignment around the infield. Anna Wary gets the start at third base. Grace Adams, the senior captain, at short. Bella Gasparo at second base as the ball popped off foul.
Low.
Low, thank you, Kate. And the count goes to 3-2. Thank you. First baseman is Laura Doobie, left to right across the outfield. Called strike 3 as Auger gets caught looking for the second out of the inning.
Auger, a 4-year varsity starter, too. A great patience at the plate. A little too patient that time.
Indeed. So left to right across the Leominster outfield. Kaya Curley-White in left, Mia Losley in center, and Abby Hahn in right field. And that's the defensive alignment for the Blue Devils.
One thing to know about these Fitchburg players, for the most part, fairly aggressive up the plate. Looking for that first good pitch in the zone. Pitch selection on that one a little bit iffy.
Yeah, that's Jaramillo at the plate. But on the first pitch, fouled it off. Now second pitch from Ledger, called the strike, and Jaramillo finds herself in the hole 0-2.
Not where you want to be.
And here's Ledger's 0-2 offering in the batter's box, called ball.
Ledger doing a good job working steady diet inside pitches here against these Fitchburg batters.
And 1-2 pitch. Called strike 3 on the inside corner. Back-to-back looking strikeouts for Ledger. Ends the inning 3 up and 3 down. No runs, no hits, no errors for the Red Raiders in the top of first. A quick break and we'll be back to set the field in the bottom half of the inning. You are watching high school softball right here on Rivalry Family Media. Back the bottom half of the first inning here on Rivalry Family Media. Leominster goes 3 batters up, 3 batters down through Fitchburg's lineup, and now Leominster will bring the bats themselves in the bottom half of the inning. Grace Adams will bat leadoff at shortstop, and Mia Loseley bats in the 2-hole playing center field. Tam Landry, the catcher, bats third. Bella Gasparo at second base bats cleanup. The third baseman, Anna Wary, bats fifth. Liz Ledger, the pitcher, bats for herself in the 6-hole. Chloe Tressaloni is the designated player, batting seventh. Kaya Curley White bats eighth, playing left field, and Lauren Doobie in the ninth batting spot, the first baseman.
Look for Grace Adams to get on and move around fast.
And Adam looks at the first pitch, offering high from the battery, Emily Burgess, the pitcher, throwing to the catcher, Margot King, for the Red Raiders.
Gracie Adams, a name we're familiar with from varsity basketball season.
And this one, a changeup called strike across the letters.
Across the letters.
The 1-1 pitch. Off speed called strike, and in the hole goes Adams. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Burgess stares in with a 1-2 count to King. The pitch. Line drive struck, swung on there, high fly to left. Settling underneath it is Sarah Sela, and then she'll make a catch for the first out of the inning.
Set the stage a little bit, Todd and Kate. Distance from pitcher's mound to home plate.
43 feet.
43 feet from the center of the pitching plate to the back of home plate. 60 feet down the lines in between the bases.
Very good. Once again, a little different than what I'm used to with Little League. I think 46 is Little League, but kind of transitions very well.
Mia Loseley, first pitch swinging, pops it down the right field line, lands foul outside line, and it's a long strike.
So for reference purposes for our viewers, average speed when you're talking about a fastball, how does that transition in that shorter distance?
High school softball average speed is probably around 50 to 55 miles an hour for your fastball. So obviously from the other short distance, the reaction time is probably somewhere in the neighborhood of about a 70-mile-an-hour fastball in baseball.
Mm-hmm. It's a quick game.
Indeed it is. It's a game
very
of
strategical game too.
Speed, placement, trying to put the ball in play, and thus Mia Loseley showing bunt here. Fouls this one off. Second strike of the at-bat.
I think that's more to put a little bit of doubt in the pitcher's mind too, because quite often you'll see the batter pull the bat back and change the plan. You know, she's way up in the front of the box too.
Helps with the timing as well, Kate.
That is absolutely right. Try to get that timing down.
Here comes Burgess's 1-2 offering. Low, swung on, line by Loseley into right field down the line, and she's got herself on with the first base of the ball game. Santos, a little struggle out there in right field to corral it, kept it within her body, and she was able to get it back in time to hold Loseley to a single.
So we have 1 on with 1 out. I think right now, Billy, you're going to see this player go right up to the front of the box. They're going to fake bunt, and they're going to test the arm of this catcher in King against Fitchburg. I think you're going to see Leominster run quite a bit today.
Once again, timing play as far as when the batter can leave, the base runner can leave the base.
On the release of the pitch. And that first pitch called the ball down and in, and that allowed Loseley to take a step or so off of first. Got wide and then returned to the bag. The 1-0 pitch tried to bunt. The ball was ruled foul as it skipped in the dirt, and that'll even the count at 1 ball and 1 strike.
Execution problems getting that runner from first to second right now for the Blue Devils. Need to get that bunt down or fake a bunt and get that runner over.
Bunted down there by Landry. Burgess tried to field it, couldn't get a handle on it. Meanwhile, round they go, play into third, and called out at third base. Moving up behind the play, Landry was able to move up on the fielder's choice.
Going to score that E1, or are we going to give her a base hit?
I'll leave that to Kate. That's the
official scorer.
Scoring decisions go through Kate.
Let's give her an infield single. I think that ball is a little tough to handle. That was a well-placed bunt right there. Not sure she would have got the ball over to first base in time.
So we have a runner on second base now on the throw. 2 outs.
Ball down and in. It will allow the advance to third base on the play. And so Landry moves up on the pass ball.
And right now, cleanup hitter up for Leominster in Gasparo with the runner on. So you're certainly going to want to see this leave the infield for the Blue Devils.
At least I put the ball in play, make defense make a play here.
Line drive finds its way into the gap in right center. Big round taken there by Bella Gasparo, but she's got herself a single in the second hit of the ball game.
Infield
Able to move
misplay.
up, on the misplay. Bill Thomas on the cutoff. Moves her up to second base on the error.
A little lackadaisical and getting that ball back into the infield leads to a base advancement.
And
by
meanwhile,
Gasparo.
Leominster's got themselves their first run of the ball game on the base hit.
Still 2 out, runner on second. Number 5 better up for Leominster. Want to move these runners yet again.
And a worry at the plate. First pitch wide and all the way to the backstop. Allows the advancement of Gasparo on the wild pitch.
Once again, take advantage of everything you can. Move runners around here. Such a strategic game. Situational.
The 1-0 offering. Line shot. Skipped the bag. They called it fair down the first base line. Allows the first run from third to come in on the play, make it second of the game. A 2-0 Leominster lead. Play at second base. Called safe, sliding into second. And Coach Craig Antachi's out of the dugout to have a conversation with plate umpire Adam Tochi. The question was, which bag did it skip? 2 bags down at first base in high school softball. The white one in fair territory, your typical first base bag. The orange one in foul territory, and that is a foul ball. The ball was to hit that orange bag. But Adam Tochi, after talking with Craig Antachi, says that indeed was a fair ball off the white bag. And Leominster has a 2-0 lead on the play. Worry with that. Kate, we're calling it a double on that play?
I gave it a double.
I gave her a double also.
All right. So Leominster, 3 hits, 2 runs.
So depending on the defensive alignment here, Billy, with a runner on second base for Leominster, you're going to see, I'm hoping, a huge lead coming up here at second base, especially with 2 outs here. You're going to see a large lead, and they're looking to have this runner score on anything hit anywhere, considering the positioning and some of the fundamentals going on the defense.
Obviously, you want your runner to anticipate a ball mishandled by the catcher, because you get yourself a quarter baseline lead. You've got the advantage on any mishandling around the plate.
The pitcher, Liz Ledger, at the plate, looks at a first pitch ball. And now here comes Burgess's 1-0 offering. Big cut taken there by Ledger for strike 1. Count evens at 1 ball, 1 strike. Leominster's got Anna Worry at second.
If I'm Coach Hatfield, I want pitch selection to be a little bit better than that, even if that is going to be called high strike. You want something in your wheelhouse to be able to hit.
Grace Adams showed that, got down early in that leadoff spot and was able to get good contact on the third pitch that she saw. That offering, the 1-1, was in the dirt, making a 2-1 count to Ledger.
Good job by King there, keeping the ball in front of her.
Burgess looks into King, the 2-1 offering. Golf from knee high. It cues all the way to second. The flip on to first, an infield single for Ledger.
Now, if I'm wary at second base, I don't know why we're stopping at third on that. With 2 outs, you should be thinking 4 the whole way, because that defense is worried about getting that out at first base. They're not even looking at you. So if you're a runner on second base in that situation, you should not be stopping. That should be another run for Leominster.
And the play was slow developing, to say the least. Coach Lauren Hatfield comes down to talk to her DP, Chloe Tresaloni. Set the Fitchburg defense behind Burgess. Lainey Yaramilo is at third base. Emma Auger, the shortstop. Rebecca Sealine, second baseman. Lucia Archipreti, the first baseman. Left to right across the outfield. It's Sarah Sealine. Elise Pearson, Alicia Santos.
DP is up for Leominster. Todd, do you want to take that?
Certainly. Well, this is an offensive position. This is that specialty situation in softball. The best akin for baseball fans out there would be your designated hitter, but it is a much, much different situation as your DP and flex work together. One is a defensive player only, allows you to have 10 players in the lineup. One, an offensive player with some special rules associated with that. We'll cover it as we go along.
I also think we have a courtesy runner at first base, now taking second base. Pitcher was up, and who got that infield hit for Leominster, so we have a courtesy runner out there, I believe, right now.
Gabby Dressaloni becomes that courtesy runner at first base. She takes second.
Defensive indifference there.
Big spot right here.
First two pitches to Chloe Tressaloni, designated player, balls, and a 2-0 count.
A lot of two-out action going on here, and this could really cap a nice first inning with a base hit.
Once again, if you're Tressaloni on second, as soon as you get contact here from this batter, you better be thinking 4. Right now we got a 3-0 count.
And bear with us, you're going to be looking at us as our game cam has gone out on us.
What happened?
Bill Thomas, can you check that wire for me?
Yeah.
Oh. Pitch comes in, called a strike, and a 3-1 count to Tressaloni. The 3-1 pitch cut on by Tressaloni to run the count full. 3 balls and 2 strikes the count, and there we are. Thank you, Bill Thomas.
All right, the help desk came through.
For the moment. Power cable, right?
Yep, we'll get that squared away at the stoppage. 3-2 pitch off speed.
Wow, all the
cut
way
on
back
and
from
missed.
3-0.
Indeed, and that's the third out of the inning. But for Leominster, they're able to do some damage. It's 2 runs on 3 hits, 1 error on the play, and they strand 2. 2-0 through 1 complete here from the Leominster Lassie League Complex. You are watching high school softball right here on RFM. To the top of the second inning we go. Continue to bear with us as we'll get that game camera sorted out. For the moment, a radio broadcast as Liz Ledger returns to the circle. First pitch, a strike to the leadoff batter in the inning for the Red Raiders, the cleanup hitter, Alicia Santos. She'll foul the 0-1 offering off almost immediately, and in the hole she goes 0-2. The 0-2 pitch called ball. And 1 ball, 2 strikes goes the count to Santos.
Liz Ledger bringing some heat there, high heat. Once again. Ooh, I think I hit her.
Dead ball, it did. Hit
Yes.
by pitches. Santos on the 1-2 pitch.
Nipped her front forearm there.
And so that'll give Fitchburg their first base runner of the ball game. Hate to let her off the hook, Bill Thomas, when you got her in the hole 0-2 early.
Absolutely, but steady diet of inside pitches here. A little too far inside on that one.
Brings the 5-hole hitter, Lucia Archipreti, to the plate. First pitch up and away. Cut on by Archipreti for strike 1.
Now, we talk about time and Todd with the base runner. Can't leave until the ball leaves the pitcher's hand.
Correct.
And that's the base umpire's responsibility to keep an eye on everything that's going on out there, I guess.
Of the many responsibilities he has, yes, indeed, that is correct. Pitch high outside again to Archipreti, was cut on for the second strike, 0-2. And down the middle, swing and a miss for strike 3 to Archipreti, first out of the inning.
Foul tip held on by the catcher.
Nice pickup there, Bill Thomas. So a runner on first base, Santos for the Red Raiders, and that brings up Elise Pierce, the center fielder. Pierce swings and misses at strike one.
Steady diet of strikes, fastballs. Keep the batter on their toes here. Can't be waiting around.
Pitch up and away for ball one. Count levels, 1 ball and 1 strike.
Riser. I think that's one thing you see in softball is that rising fastball because it's coming from a knee level. Very tough pitch.
High strike swung on by Pierce. Flipped to second for 1, on to first, not in time. So fielder's choice allows Pierce to move her way to first. And to put out 6-4 for out number 2.
Nice job to get the lead runner there.
And that brings the pitcher, Emily Burgess, to the plate. First pitch, a little bit of had a rise tail to it there from Ledger. Cut on and missed. 0-1 goes the count. Oh, 1 offering called strike, knee high inside corner, and Burgess in the hole. No balls and 2 strikes.
Which Burgess traditionally, as we're used to seeing in the back of the box.
And she'll get a little contact there to foul the 0-2 offering off and keep herself alive.
I think most of the batters we've seen are up in that front line with the rear foot even with the front of the plate. The Burgess all the way back there, pretty much on the back line with her rear foot.
The 0-2 pitch. Burgess grounds it back to Ledger, flips it on to first to Doobie, and that's the way that will go. Score that 1-3 to end the inning for the Raiders. No runs, no hits, no errors, 1 left on. Through 1.5, 2-0 Leominster as they come up in the bottom half of the inning. You're watching high school softball right here on RFM. We continue with the Lassie League field in Leominster. Leominster and Fitchburg softball right here on RFM. Bill Thomas, Kate Robbins, Todd Robbins, happy to be here with you as we go to the bottom of the second inning. And Burgess starts off with an off-speed pitch, swung on and missed by Kaya Curly White. White hit with that off-speed pitch, seemed to carry on into her, and down to first she'll go. First base runner of the inning for Leominster. Lauren Doobie at the plate sends the ground ball straight back up the middle. Snap throw behind Curly White, who had overrun second. The tag came from Auger, not in time. And yes, we are. Thank you both. Yes, great work.
Help desk number 2 shows up.
Kate and Billy.
All right, so what do we got? First
Able
and
to
second?
sort things out. Yeah, runners on first and second. And happy to have you looking at the field as we go back to the top of the order.
So Kaya White hit by pitch.
Hit by pitch, yeah. Now, in that situation,
Doobie,
though,
base hit.
You got it.
With a base hit up the middle, Kaya Curley needs to know she's got to stay on that bag. She can't take that turn with the players right there with the ball.
Grace Adams drops down the bunt as Leominster goes back to the top of the order. Killed it right at the plate and moves everybody up 60 feet.
Nice bunt by Grace.
Absolutely. Base hit all the way there.
Seemingly a lost art, Kate, in high school softball, even in college softball to a certain degree. Getting the bunt down. I see so many coaches screaming, get the bunt down.
Execution becomes a real big problem in some instances, but right there, Gracie Adams, textbook on the first base side, moving her runners from first and second to second and third. Now we have bases loaded with number 2 hitter up.
Yeah, Mia Losley, ground ball, played by the third baseman, Yaramilo, into home.
Unnecessary tag,
yes, called out.
Takes the out.
Moves everything neatly in order. The fielder's choice puts Losley at first. Grace Adams moves on over to second. And cut down there, went 5-2 for the first out of the inning.
Now you have your 3 batter up who had a single in the first inning. It was on a bunt, however. Bases loaded yet again. Infield not in the situation for a bunt. So it looks like they're playing her straight up, looking for her to hit the ball with bases loaded, thinking you have your 3 batter up. But she did such a nice job putting the ball down. Might as well make something happen. But you don't want to take the stick out of her hand either. It's 3 batter.
A 1-0 offering here from Burgess. High. Count goes to 2-0. Landry stares out at Burgess. Burgess into King. Pitch right down the middle, called strike.
This is the type of a situation where if you're Fitchburg on defense, you're just trying to stop the damage. Don't want to let floodgates open here. Meat of the order up for Leominster.
2-1 offering, low, but ground ball sent at the shortstop, Auger. Auger up with it, thrown. Nice dig over at first base by Archer Preddy. But not in time.
Called safe. Looked like she might even been off the bag there a little bit. Her heel came off when she bent down for that scoop. A good job keeping the ball in front of her. Everything happened so quick.
Everybody moves up one position on the play. Fielder's choice there.
Still bases loaded. 1 out.
And that brings Bella Gasparo to the plate. She had a single. Single here would score a handful for Leominster, already with a 3-0 lead.
Had a run score there. Dube crossed the plate on that play.
3-0 Leominster.
Right back up the box off of Burgess. Run scores. Everybody moves up 60 feet. And Leominster's got a 4-0 lead. They'll call time at the end of the play to check on the pitcher, Burgess. That may have caught a piece of her leg. She tried to get the leather down low to about knee high. Coach Craig and Tossie out to check on his hurler.
Hard hit ball there. Used her leg, probably saved the run. The ball had center field written all over it there. Going to be good for 2 runs probably. But tough play right there by the pitcher. And as we will note, the pitcher is wearing a mask along with the third baseman, because stuff just happens so fast at the hot corner and in the pitcher's mind. What you said 43 feet from rubber, but the pitcher is within 40 feet by the time she's done delivering. It doesn't take long for the ball to get back there.
8-foot circle, so from the rubber to the outer edge, so you're able to close that distance fairly quickly. And Awari, the 5-hole hitter, looks at ball number 1.
Base is still loaded for Leominster. 1 out.
Mia Losley at third, Tam Landry at second, Bella Gasparo at first for the Blue Devils. And Wari looks to 1-0 pitch. Ground ball. Finds its way to the shortstop. Auger up with it. On to Archer Preddy at first. 6-3 goes the putout for out number 2.
Another run scores, though, for Leominster. On the
Losi,
fielder's choice.
Losi crosses the plate. Second and third now for Leominster with 2 outs.
And a 5-0 lead already. Strong wind blowing here. A 50-degree day, but it feels just barely to 40 as the pitch sails wide, sliding in. Great hustle play there by Tam Landry to take home on the wild pitch.
Almost looked the wind caught that curveball. Kept it out of the reach of the catcher there. Leads to another run. Fourth run of the inning by the Blue Devils.
And Ledger at the plate with a 6-0 lead as a pitcher. That's got to feel nice. A 1-0 pitch, ripped foul outside of third base. Almost took out head coach Lauren Hatfield.
And that's why the third baseman's also wearing a mask. That ball got down there in a hurry. Because she's playing in. You said 60 feet to the base. She's at least 10 feet in. Just as much danger as the pitcher right there.
Fairly interesting defensive alignment for Fitchburg's defense. Second baseman is incredibly deep. And you have a pull hitter up right now, and you're toward the bottom of the order. Leominster kind of on a roll. I'm surprised that she's that far deep. If she gets a slow dribbler, then Ledger's going to be on base.
Here's a pitch from Burgess. Off speed. Cut strong there by Ledger. And puts herself in the hole, 1 ball and 2 strikes. She's not up there looking for a walk, Kate. She's trying to find the right pitch to time.
That's sometimes that pitch selection. You just badly want to be able to get that rally going again.
Burgess go down and away on the 1-2 offering, and Ledger will send it into left field. Scraping the ground, allows another run to score, and Leominster work their way to loaded bases, and they have matriculated their way to score them all.
Next time Ledger gets up, if I'm Fitchburg's coach, I'm putting on a shift. But I am.
Everybody to
I'm big to the
left
shift.
of
Kate
second
really
base.
enjoyed the shift in her days, coaching both at St. Bernard's and at Shrewsbury.
Big proponent of the shift.
And that brings Chloe Tressalone to the plate. She struck out swinging in her first at-bat. Looks at ball number 1 in the dirt. Dug out by King. And that will hold the runner Liz Ledger at first. The 1-0 pitch, chopped foul. Count levels at 1 ball and 1 strike.
Once again, the wind picking up.
And it's blowing the stone dust surface around. Coach Lauren Hatfield takes her offensive conference here for the bottom half of the second inning. 7-0, Leominster on top of Fitchburg. Bottom of the second here on RFM. Todd Robbins alongside Bill Thomas and Kate Robbins for RFM. Hope you're enjoying this one in delay stream on Facebook today. I want to thank all those great Facebook groups for hosting us today, as well as you can find this game on demand anytime by searching Rivalry Family Media on YouTube. Ball in the dirt. Count will go to 2 balls and a strike to Chloe Tressalone.
Emily having a little trouble with the strike zone here.
If you're a Leominster, you have the ability to be incredibly patient up at the plate.
Tressalone shows, but pulls back, pops this one up, third base side. Yarmilo not able to corral in the sun. That ball will fall. Ledger will move up to second on the error, and Tressalone gets herself on base.
Tough sun right there.
And so Leominster bats around in the inning. Why? Because they want to make sure I know how to fill out a lineup card when it happens.
Now you got to learn how to slide your scorebook over.
Everything's going to slide over. Here we go.
Change the headings.
Kaya Curley-White was hit by a pitch in her first at-bat earlier in the inning. Eventually made her way around to third and was thrown out at home for the first out of the inning. Look at a first pitch ball. Burgess' 1-0 offering is a ball wide of the plate. Count to 2-0 to Kaya Curley-White. Curley-White, the lefty, stands in, gets a good look at Burgess. Runners on first and second with 2 outs. The off-speed pitch, cut on and missed by White, and the count goes to 2 balls and a strike.
They have been chasing that high pitch all day. Pitch selection, key.
Indeed.
Got to be more patient than that.
That's a combination of discipline and pitch selection, right? The off-speed pitch, and Kaya Curley-White sees that one in her wheelhouse, swings and misses to level the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Timing a little off there, I think, in the pulling of the bat back, and then she just couldn't get around on that with the right timing.
I understand getting a little bit antsy with a generous strike zone, though.
This one will pop up and out of play, and 2-2 stays the count.
Sometimes you got to get the batter swinging, Kate. You know, you work it a little bit early in the count. I know you're a coach and you're not going to be a proponent of that. A strike is a strike and a ball is a ball, right?
Indeed. Here comes the 2-2 pitch.
Plate is 17 inches wide.
That ball is short.
Is that counting the black?
3.
There's
There
no such
is
thing
no
as
such thing as black.
On the black is not a strike.
That is a misnomer.
I know
Home
that.
plates do not have
3-2
black.
count, 2
Yeah,
out.
here comes the 3-2
Runner should be
pitch.
going. I don't know why
Ball
they're not.
in the dirt, and that is a walk. Everybody moves up 60 feet, and the inning continues.
Bases loaded once again. Big spot here for Lauren Doobie.
So working your way around the bases for Leominster, Liz Ledger, the pitcher, is at third. Chloe Tresaloni at second. Kaya Curley-White now at first with the bases loaded. And Lauren Doobie at the plate. Pops up the first pitch she sees, drops it in the outfield for a base hit. 1 run is in. Here comes another. Ball will miss the catcher King all the way to the backstop. Curley-White around from first to score.
That's going to clear the bases.
Indeed it does. And Doobie able to move up on a couple of throws, turns her single. And all the way to third base she goes.
Right.
Couple of RBIs there. Third run scores on a misplay.
Leominster's lead has increased to 10. 10-0. Leominster over Fitchburg. Bottom of the second inning with now just the runner on third and 2 outs. A lot of damage done with 2 outs here. Grace Adams, as they go back to the top of the order, line shot through the left fielder's C line. And Adams is on her horse. She's rounding second, heading on into third. Misplay at the cutoff, and Adams will go around and score. We'll call it a single with a 3-base error for Grace Adams. But nonetheless, scored on the board.
Definitely gets the job done, Rap, with the pressure on the defense. Clears the bases. I don't know about you guys, but my scorebook looks like a kid's coloring book already. We're only in the second inning.
And Leominster has reached a 12-0 lead with that base hit from Adams. And now Burgess's ball is in the dirt for ball number 1 as Leominster works their way back around to Mia Losley, the center fielder. It's our first pitch ball. Losley looks at ball number 2 inside. By our count, Burgess has thrown 43 pitches here to the bottom of the second inning. That is a lot of work in the game of softball this early in a game. The 2-0 pitch.
And we know in softball, girls frequently throw a lot of innings.
Oh, absolutely.
But when you talk about pitches within the inning, no easy way to burn out a pitcher early on in a game.
Right now, Fitchburg only listing 1 substitute on their roster today on this April school vacation day.
3-0 pitch misses up and away, and Losley works a walk, finds herself on. And Leominster's got themselves a base runner after loading and clearing the bases on 2 different occasions in this ongoing second inning.
I think good job here by the Fitchburg coach, whose name I did not write down.
Craig Antucci.
And just to give his pitcher a break right there, he's got to come out, talk a little bit, try to extend the time here.
I think I probably would have sent a visit quite a while ago. With 2 outs and a runner on first, what are we going to talk about?
Well, at this point, right, it's about finding the way to get the out, maybe about stemming the tide a little bit.
A little respite for the pitcher.
I think I
gather
probably would have
gather your thoughts
earlier.
here. Definitely taking his time out there, waiting for the umpire to come out to break him up.
Well, and of course, when you reach this point, and remember, in high school softball here in the Mid-Watch League, a mercy rule exists, 12 runs after 5 innings. 4.5 if the home team is the team that is leading. And that situation already a possibility here in the bottom of the second. And so, Kate, this opportunity now is about growth and building your team, keeping them alive. And obviously the goal now is to keep the game going, score enough runs, keep the game going on your offensive at-bats, and just try to get out of this inning.
Certainly. Now what you want to win, win every single pitch in that type of a situation. Right now it really is about fundamentals. Right here you see, ball gets hit to you, scoop it up, get the out, 5-3, move on to the next inning.
And Tam Landry chopped the ground ball to Yaramilo over to Archipre, and that's the way the third out goes in the inning.
I guess the mound visit paid off there. One pitch gets a third out.
5 hits in the inning, plays 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 runs for Leominster in that second inning. A quick break and we're back with more. You're watching high school softball right here on RFM. To the top of the third we go. Leominster finds themselves back out on the field with a 12-0 lead. Coach Lauren Hatfield comes out to talk to plate umpire Adam Tochi.
Right now, you got 8-9-1 coming up for Fitchburg. So if you are the Leominster defense, you're going to want 2 quick outs here if you can get them. What do we think this conversation's about, the defensive alignment?
I believe it's going to be defensive alignment. As Coach mentioned, she was going to rather liberally use that flex DP benefit where you can move your defensive players around. As long as you don't change the 9 in your batting order, with this kind of 10-player setup that the DP flex rule allows, you can essentially pick 9 players and have them out on the field. Sorry about that, Bill Thomas.
That's right. Defensive alignment's going to be a challenge now. Check numbers.
That's correct. See who is where.
I'll leave that up to you.
Conversation developed.
All right. Right now, Leominster's outfield playing incredibly shallow. Again, 8-9-1. Other than center fielder, right fielder is incredibly shallow for the 8-9-1 hitters.
And the first pitch scrapes the leadoff batter for Fitchburg in Soleil LeBlanc. She's hit by a pitch to DP.
Not what you want if you are Leominster when you have bottom of the order.
Throw strikes and get outs, I guess, huh, Coach? Throw strikes.
When you get 8-9-1, I want to know.
Throw strikes. They can put the ball in play.
And you give him a base runner early on in the top of the third. And now a bunt.
Let it go foul.
And it is foul. Plate umpire Adam Tochi right there on the line to get the good look on it. It was touched foul there, and nice job by Anna Worry. She was going to touch it, and at the very last second, kind of peeled off the play. Tam Landry, the catcher there, the senior in there as well. Got to assume maybe a little
might have been a
communication
happy accident
on the play, and it very well may have been.
That might have been a happy accident.
Tamara, that just to make sure it didn't kick back fair, which would convert it back to a fair ball where it stops.
Both corners in, which means second is going to have the priority to get the ball at first base. Shortstop's going to be shifting over to second on any play into the infield, and you have your left fielder, number 7, running in to cover third base so that all the bases are covered. You got movement by the right fielder and the center fielder on these bunt attempts as well. So everybody's moving where they're supposed to be. Now it's about execution, getting fundamentals taken care of.
Sea Line bunted foul was in the hole 0-2, and Ledger burns a fastball for a swinging strike 3, and that's the first out of the inning.
Now, strategically, Kate,
Yes.
do you want all that movement with such a big lead, or should you just be concentrating on getting the batter out?
No, I need that movement on a bunt, absolutely.
Pop up as we go back to the top of the order for Sea Line, and settling underneath it and making the catch there is Lauren Doobie, and that's out number 2.
Good job there, getting 2 quick outs.
I told you that's what I want. That's what you want.
And now to Emma Auger. Auger looks a ball 1 inside.
And you want this runner out as well so that when Fitchburg's 3-4 hitters come up in the next inning, they have nobody on base so that you're not dealing with any base runners.
Auger thought about that high outside pitch and barely checked up. 2-0 goes the count.
To the generous strike zone, I'd think about it too.
Strike right down the middle, and the count goes to 2 balls and a strike. Small patch of cloud overhead brings us a little bit of darkness momentarily, if you will, and a pitch goes wide. 3-1 goes the count.
Cloud ruins what otherwise is a great day.
What,
That's
is this
only when you're on
Florida?
vacation.
I was going to say, is this Florida?
We got some nice puffy clouds you can see there on our backstop cam, giving you a good wide-angle look at the field. The 3-1 pitch to Auger is ball 4 down and in.
Once again, unnecessary base runners here, Coach.
Well, yes. The only thing that you can say now is that at least you have a force out.
There's always a silver lining to that cloud.
Well, when you're coaching, that's what you got to do. Find something, right?
Lenny Yaramilo at the plate looks at ball 1 down and in.
But now you're looking at your number 3 batter coming up with 2 runners on and potential for a rally if she gets this one out of the infield.
Cuts and misses on the 1-0 pitch. Count levels 1 ball, 1 strike.
Last thing you want to do is give a team new life that you've got pinned to the mat, especially early in the game.
Especially when you have your mercy rule.
1-1 ball smothered down low by Tam Landry. 2-1 goes the count. Yaramilo's pitch, a little rise action, got popped out of play by Yaramilo.
Making sure my car is far enough away.
It's fine.
When I pulled in, I noticed everybody parked
Way away.
about as far away as you can.
Toward field 1A here at the Leominster Lassie League Complex as we play this one on field 2. Big swing and a miss there for Yaramilo for strike 3.
Third out of the inning right there.
Indeed. Fitchburg strands 2 in the inning and can't play any, so no runs on no hits and 2 left on. 12-0 Leominster through 2.5. More to come. You're watching high school softball here on RFM. To the bottom of the third we go here on RFM.
4 batter up for Leominster with Gasparo here. looking to get things started.
Yeah, first pitch, call the ball.
They got Gasparo with 2 for 2 with a double to right field and an infield single. Scored a couple of runs already in this game.
The 1-0 offering and the wind kicked up as that one came in, sailed high, and the count goes to 2-0.
Fitchburg right now being very careful with how they handle Gasparo, even with no one on.
Definitely deep across the middle infield. That off-speed cuts in right around the letters for strike number 1, 2 balls and a strike.
I changed the pace pitch right there. Wind, I think, helping those softer tosses.
And the off-speed pitch there misses high. 3 balls and a strike to Bella Gasparo.
You can guarantee Bella wants to hit, so if she gets anything close, she's going to be swinging and swinging hard.
Coach Hatfield aggressive, probably give her the green light. That's waist high, hard chop round ball. Fielded by Yaramillo on to Archer Prenny at first for out number 1.
Nice pick up there by a third baseman. Stayed down on it.
And of course, you don't exactly want to cut on a 3-1 pitch, Kate, although you do have it in your advantage. But she picked a good pitch. It was waist high. It was right there in her wheelhouse.
It was. Just didn't get all of it.
Close game. You might be looking for that walk, but I think the situation calls for, let's take a hack at it there.
Berry with a double in her first at bat to right field.
And she'll pop this one up on the right side of the infield. Second baseman Sealine will settle under it and make the catch for out number 2. And quickly, Fitchburg
jinx
brings
it.
2
Don't
Blue Devils
jinx
to the
it.
plate and sends them right down. And that
Don't you
brings
jinx it.
Liz Ledger to the plate. Barrow walks and a run scored.
Still, some of the defensive alignment, very interesting choices.
Ball through catcher Margot King to backstop here. Ball number 1 to Liz Ledger. Burgess looks over the dugout to Coach Antachi for a sign. Now here's the pitch. Ball trails high. 2-0 goes the count to Liz Ledger.
All right, we got a strange question for you, Kate.
Yes, sir.
Why don't girls softball players wear hats?
Because it would mess up our hair.
I thought that might be the answer, but I wanted to hear it from you. It's a fashion statement? Is there a technical reason for it, or just...
So it doesn't mess up our hair.
No, truly, Bill Thomas, although she is giving you a lot of sass in that answer, it's personal preference. The lack of sunglasses has always, struck me as well.
I always had trouble with depth perception with it. Sunglasses with depth perception, I always struggled with. I always wore a hat, Bill Thomas, when I was playing. I played shortstop and third base in high school. At collegiate level, I played right field, so I always had a hat. It is just personal preference.
Hat and no sunglasses?
No
or
sunglasses.
You use the brim of the hat to help you shield?
2-2 pitch.
Because I agree with the depth perception.
Yep, I struggled.
Ledger pops this one up behind first base.
1,
and a
2,
nice
3
job
inning.
by Rebecca Sealine, who settles underneath it, makes the catch, and yes, 3 up, 3 down in the inning for Fitchburg. No runs, no hits, no one left on for the Blue Devils. We stay at 12-0 Leominster through 3. More to come. You're watching high school softball here on RFM. To the top of the fourth inning we go. 12-0 Leominster's lead here on high school softball here on RFM. Liz Ledger continues. First pitch bunted down by Santos. Up with it is Worry, and on to first Doobie, and 5-3 goes the putout.
It's a nice looking play. The only thing that I would suggest on that with the pitcher, I'm not picking up that ball with my gloves single-handed.
Backhanded like that?
Yeah. No, thank you. I'm scooping that up or barehanding that.
My first thought, get in front of that ball so you're in throwing position before it gets to you.
Did you have that fielded by Ledger then? 1-3 the putout?
That was 1-3.
Oh, 1-3.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Just kind of waited
I
on
worry
that,
on that one.
and just kind of backhanded it. But you'd like to see a little more foot and position movement there.
I agree.
Brings Lucia Archipreni to the plate. Saw first pitch ball, second pitch swinging. Ground ball, knocked down by Gasparo, on to Doobie at first, and 4-3 goes that put out.
Nice recovery on the bobble on that one by the defensive player.
You know, we talk about defensive changes, and I think one that we've noticed here, I've noted Chloe Tessaloni now catching.
Yeah, the defensive change there comes via the DP. So Tressaloni was the DP in the lineup. She's now playing defense for herself. So Leominster potentially has dropped down to 9. Pitch misses high on the second one there to Pierce. She missed on the first. Count is even at 1 ball and 1 strike. Ground ball fielded by the shortstop Adams, on to first. Called out on the play. That is not Adams over at first, or at short rather. We'll get a name for you, but nonetheless, 3 up, 3 down in the inning, and 6-3 went to the putout. Through 3.5, Leominster with a 12-0 lead. You're watching high school softball here on RFM. Back to the Leominster Lassie League field as we start the bottom of the fourth inning. And Burgess's first offering is in the dirt for ball number 1. Chloe Tressaloni, the designated player, sees the first pitch low and goes to 1-0 on the count. Tressaloni shows bunt, pulls back. Burgess's offering. She offered at it.
Yes, she did.
And that'll be strike number 1. Potentially, Tressaloni may have even got a piece of it for a foul ball.
Good job there, umpire, getting together for some help.
You're generous.
Get the
Billy.
call right. I've been on both sides of the line, Kate.
So have we.
40 feet on that one, short by just a little in the dirt. 2 balls and a strike goes the count to Tressaloni. The 2-1 offering from Burgess. A ball down and in, and the count goes to 3 balls and a strike. Happy to have you along with us on this beautiful day. Maiden voyage once again here on RFM for high school softball. Rivalry style, Leominster and Fitchburg here today. 3-1 pitch. It is a fair ball. Swinging bunt, if you will. Fielded by King. Got it down to Archipreni at first. Got her foot on the bag and called out on the play.
Nice play right there. Ball died right in the batter's box. Front side of the batter's box. Remained in fair territory. The lines come down to the back of the plate, and everything within that line is fair ball, even if it's in the box.
Which means the front halves of the batter's box are in play.
Do you have a new back?
Yeah, I believe we do have a new back.
Number
Kylie
7.
White is out, and Lauren Fleury is in.
Now, how is this going to affect the defensive alignment? Is this a straight substitution?
This would be a straight substitution as it comes, Bill Thomas. And Fleury looks at a pitch high and away for ball number 1.
So we can expect Lauren to go out and play defense?
Somewhere, potentially left field.
No.
Can Kay White re-enter the game?
Yes,
she can.
Starters and substitutes in high school softball can re-enter one time.
For any other player, as long as she doesn't reposition herself in the batting order?
Same spot in the batting order.
Just the same spot.
Defensively, they can move them around.
Gotcha.
2-0 goes the count. Burgess' 2-0 pitch goes to 3-0 down and in. Leominster exploded in the second inning. 10 runs there. It's what allowed them to open up this 12-0 lead. This potentially their last offensive at-bat if they can keep Fitchburg off the board in the top of the 5th. That pitch down and in called strike 1. 3 balls and a strike. Here comes the 3-1 offering from Burgess. Down the pike, popped up by Fleury. Archipredi gives chase and makes the catch in foul territory for out number 1.
2.
I'll make it 2, excuse me. Thank you, Kate. I'm having so much fun here, Kate. I want to just keep going. Bring on some more.
I've always enjoyed baseball. 3 years, 4 years as the Dirt Dogs PA announcer. Just enjoying all aspects of the game.
Lauren Dewey dives across the plate and pulls that one high, deep, and foul. Loud strike number 1. I love those bat ball sports, Bill Thomas.
Hey, baseball and softball, truly the signs of spring, in my opinion.
39 feet on that one. Short knockdown by King. And the count levels at 1 ball and 1 strike. Aside from a little breeze cooling the day off, it is a beautiful spring day. Off-speed pitch, call the strike, and the count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. Burgess' 1-2 pitch. Chopped down toward third base. Yarmilio up with it. And just out of the reach of Archipredi. She got a glove on it but couldn't haul it in. And that will allow Doobie to reach.
Potential third out of the inning there. The inning continues now.
And back to the top of the order we go, and that brings Grace Adams to the plate. Adams popped out in her first at-bat, then had 2 singles and 2 runs scored in the second inning where Leominster batted around.
I think you're going to see her be very aggressive up here at the plate. Coach Hatfield wanting a cushion. 12-0 right now is sufficient for the mercy rule, but you always want to have a little bit of a cushion just in case defensively you can't get the job done right off the bat. So I think you're going to see Grace Adams be very, very aggressive here. One of the best 6 on the Leominster lineup.
The 0-1 offering. Adams chopped through the third baseman, Yaramilo.
I'm not making
Fielded
that throw.
deep in the gap by Auger. She got it over to first to Archipredi, but it's an infield single.
A little more discipline on that, but luckily ball stayed in play.
If I'm the shortstop in that situation, though, I'm not going to throw that ball. No way you're going to get an out there.
Right, you gotta basically eat it.
Protect the ball.
Not allow any more advance of runners.
Nice big lead at second base for the Blue Devils in Doobie. She knows the second baseman is the only one that's going to be covering her, and the second baseman right now playing well off of second base, so deep in that hole at second base. So a nice big lead for the Blue Devils on the bases, which we like to see.
The pinch hitter here, Alyssa Tuminas, sees her second pitch. A ball as well.
She swung at that.
Oh, thank you, Kate. Hey, you got a 50-50 shot when you're not looking.
Yep.
Here's the 1-1. Ball called high, 2 balls and a strike. Grace Adams is on at first. Lauren Doobie down at second for Leominster.
Again, if you're those Leominster base runners, you want to be very aggressive here with 2 outs off on the crack of the bat. If you're at second base, you are looking to score on this play.
2-1, shows bunt, pulls back. Ball in the dirt, goes through Margot King on the pass ball, and it'll allow everybody to move up 60 feet. And 3-1 goes the count to Alyssa Tuminas.
A couple of big insurance runs sitting out there for the 12-plus rule.
Tuminas shows, pulls back, swings and misses, and it's a swinging strike 3. Run will come in and score, and Tuminas is on the drop, 3rd strike. Except that it was strike number 2. The run does score to steal of home for Lauren Doobie and gives Leominster their 13th run. So 3 balls, 2 strikes goes the count to Tuminas. Adams is now at 3rd base. And works a walk, does Tuminas. And we've taken Bill Thomas's breath away.
All right. Landry is up 3 batter for Leominster, runners at 1st and 3rd. 2 outs. I still think you'll see Leominster try to steal second here with some defensive indifference on behalf of Fitchburg.
Off-speed pitch, called strike to Landry.
Delay happens. Runner on 1st goes to 2nd.
And so now runners on 2nd and 3rd. The 1-0 pitch to Landry. Chopping ground ball. Up with it, Auger. Auger over to Archipretti at 1st. 3rd out of the inning. 6-3 goes the putout. Leominster will strand 2, but got that all-important insurance run to keep the 12-0 mercy rule in play with a little bit of padding as they go to the top half of the 5th inning. Through 4, 13-0 Leominster. You're watching high school softball here on RFM. To the top of the 5th we go here on RFM. Fitchburg comes to bat needing 2 runs to continue the ball game. And the first pitch to Emily Burgess is a ball. Burgess pops this one straight over Liz Ledger's head. She'll settle underneath it, and she'll make the play. And Fitchburg down to just their final 2 outs, or the mercy rule will be invoked. 12 runs here in Midwash softball.
Last time up, LeBlanc hit by a pitch.
This one popped up and out of play by LeBlanc for strike number 1. As she was stranded at second base. Ledger sees a ball down below the knees. Count level, 1 ball, 1 strike. The 1-1 pitch, called strike knee high inside. A ball and 2 strikes to LeBlanc. Here comes Ledger's 1-2 offering. Swung on and missed. Dropped by the catcher, Tresoloni, but she'll scramble, recover, place the tag on the drop, 3rd strike.
2 outs.
And a swinging strikeout for out number 2.
Sleslin struck up her first time up to bat.
Yeah, and she sees a first pitch called strike in her second at bat. 0-1. Chopped foul.
Billy's not going to make it to the end of the game.
I got that tickle that won't go away. Sometimes it gets stuck there. Just turn my mic off.
Billy's done for the day. And 3.
And the 0-2 pitch got on and missed.
That's your ball game.
And that is 3 outs. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on. And by Midland Wachusett League rule, in confirmation with the National Federation of High School Sports, Mercy rule is invoked with a 12-run or greater lead after 5 or 4.5 if the home team is ahead. Leominster's 13-0 lead sufficient through 4.5. And so Leominster will take a 13-0 victory in this first meeting of these two teams early on in the season. For Leominster, an all-important first win, also a first rivalry win of the season. I expect both teams, obviously, to continue to grow and develop in their respective leagues. Leominster, of course, in Mid-Watch A, Fitchburg competing in Mid-Watch B.
Both with very difficult league schedules for each of them. Right now, the class of the Mid-Watch not running through Leominster or Fitchburg in softball, so have to keep that in mind, particularly with their league schedules coming up. They've got the teeth of their schedules coming up later in the year, so we'll have to see how they fare against some of the other teams in the Mid-Watch.
We'll have a final stat recap coming up for you in a moment, but here's one thing we can say. By my count, Leominster starter Liz Ledger got herself a no-hitter in her 5 innings of Mercy shortened action. Did not allow a Fitchburg hit by my count all day long. Not a perfect game. Had a couple hit by pitches and some walks, but did not allow a base hit in the ball game. So a 5-inning no-hitter for Liz Ledger in this rivalry matchup as well. So we'll have more. And a final tally here from Leominster Lassie League Field. Leominster a winner, 13-0 in Mercy shortened action. Stay with us. You're watching high school softball here on RFM. Back to the Leominster Lassie field here on Creasy Street. Final score here, 13-0. Leominster, a winner today over Fitchburg, a mercy-shortened 4.5 inning game. Ran just about 1 hour, 22 minutes here at the Lassie League Complex today for Leominster to play those 13 runs in a commanding effort. 10 runs, second inning, really ultimately what blew the game wide open. Bill Thomas, you've got our stat recap.
Well, I'll give you a quick stat recap.
Yes.
I'll tell you, my book looks like a coloring book here. But a big second inning there by the Blue Devils, beating 10 runs, and really broke the game open there. But top to bottom, the offense looked good. I had them 13 runs overall, and, a number of base hits, number of hard hit balls. Kate can get into the particulars a little more. But my book looks like hieroglyphics, and I'm happy for that, for the Leominster side. Not that we're particularly following any particular team, but, we do have a certain allegiance to Leominster. But great showing, and on top of it, when you look at what happened on the mound, Liz Ledger, a no-no.
Yes.
Only faced, I got 1, 2, 3 over the minimum, a couple of hit by pitches, a base on ball, fielder's choice mixed in there, and some good defense, and leads to no runs on the Fitchburg side. 13-0 whitewash by the Leominster Lady Blue Devils.
Indeed, they do. And Kate, for Fitchburg, you saw Burgess. She threw a lot of pitches, defensively. Leominster got the timely hits. When you can post a 10-run inning like that, it certainly opens the game up, gives you a lot of options, chances to bring in players who haven't seen action or, try to help them develop early on in the season. And then on the other side, it gives Fitchburg a chance to hopefully try to grow and develop. And you could see Coach Antonsio still out there right now, talking to his team, meeting on the field, and every game will be continued growth in his first season, taking over from Mike Pelland, retired from that role after a couple of seasons.
Yeah, right now, if you kind of think about it, this is the first real test that Fitchburg has faced on their schedule, and their pitcher threw over 75 pitches today in this one, and they really did face their first test. That's why we said in the pregame that the records in this one did not think were going to be indicative of the outcome of today's game. You have teams that are playing in two very different leagues. Midwatch A and Midwatch B, very, very different. Their non-league opponents are very, very different as well. So not necessarily surprised by the outcome in this one. With regards to Leominster and their opportunities, scoring opportunities were excellent. Lots that they can improve on, particularly on the bases, in my estimation. I don't necessarily think that they were even aggressive enough. I think that that score could have been quite a bit more early on. So I think that right now, yes, it does give you a lot of options for the coaching staff to be able to get people playing time, but right now it is so early in the season, you're really trying to get your legs under you and really get the fundamentals down with your starting 9 or 10 if you're using the DP flex as Coach Hatfield is. And so in this instance, I just think that, taking a look at the fundamentals, making sure that you're starting 9, you're starting 10, are able to, number one, produce when you need them to produce, execute when you need bunts to get down, make sure that they are getting their timely hits, make sure that they're running the bases as efficiently and effectively as possible. I think right now that's the story of the game like today, not necessarily giving you options. I know she did get some other players in for playing time, but at this point in time, with the types of teams that they are going to be facing later on in the season, there's some cleanup that needs to be done, particularly offensively, that I think that a game like today is a nice stepping stone for when you get into the meat of the Midwatch A season. And so that's kind of where I would see a game like this as the stepping stone. You're, playing.
You got to be pleased if you're on that side of the aisle of being Leominster, at least with the ability to get a timely hit when you needed it. They were able to load the base twice in that second inning, get the hit they needed to clear those bases. Actually needed a couple of hits in a couple of cases to clear those bases, keep obviously those runs coming in, but facing a much, much different pitching style than they're going to see when they play the top half of Midwatch A.
There's no doubt about that. That is absolutely for certain. But as you said, positive to take away from it, they didn't leave a lot of runners on base, and that 10-run inning, that second inning, it was kind of waning, and then they were able to start it back up again, waning and start it back up again. So those types of things, great positives to take away. I think that early on in the game, pitch selection was a little bit shaky for some of the Leominster players. A lot of times when you see a pitcher like they faced today, you get really, really antsy, and you really want to go after that first pitch. And to be perfectly candid with you, incredibly generous strike zone, particularly on the high end coming from the home plate umpire today. And so you have to take advantage when you see a good pitch. You have to go at it. That high end of the zone was generous. We will say that. But overall, I thought, pitch selection in the latter half of the game for Leominster, much better than in the first half of the game. So a lot of positives to take away if you're Coach Lauren Hatfield with this one, and certainly a stepping stone. A lot of room for growth. A lot of room for growth on both sides, and so it's early on in the season. We'll see where both teams end up.
Indeed it is. A 13-0 victory for Leominster and a no-hit effort from Liz Ledger in the pitching circle. 7 strikeouts by my tally as well to go along with that. It was a really nice performance, in a situation where you obviously get the run support and you were able to command the action all across the field.
Yeah, I echo your comments. I think the plus side is that it gave Coach Hatfield a chance to mix and match a little bit and try some different players. We saw catcher substitution, move the catcher out to shortstop. You're never going to know when you're going to need that type of move to cover up an injury, and you don't like to be backed into one play or one position. If you can have some players that you can flex around, and I think it's a great rule for softball. Get more girls involved, gives you a chance to advance your defensive abilities at positions you might not normally play. But it bodes well for the future. And there's this future, and now are we talking a 20-game season here?
Yes.
Much like basketball and/or baseball.
Of course, weather permitting.
Weather
that is,
permitting,
of course. In this
win
sport.
50%, but to come off a big win like this after, starting out 0-2 and being able to get some players some playing time they might not normally get in position, I think this bodes well for Leominster going forward.
And I know, Billy, we like to make some correlations to baseball, an area of familiarity with you. And softball, because you don't have to have such an extensive pitching staff, that means the mixing and the matching, trying to get those ladies on the field in different spots, because you're able to really rely on one or two pitchers. I know that right now at the collegiate level, they are kind of going back to a larger staff.
Yes.
But we haven't seen that in times previous. And at the high school level, still, you're going to have your ace, and that's the person that's going to do the yeoman's amount of work for your pitching staff. So really, in a lot of cases for Leominster, you have a pitching staff of 2. And in baseball, that would never be able to happen.
No.
And so, in addition, not only do you have a pitching staff of 2, but those 2 players can pitch every day.
Right. You're not worried about rest rules and overworking
Yep.
because of mechanics and things
Right.
like that, which really changes the strategy side of the game when it comes to the players that you are utilizing on a game-to-game basis.
So a lot of times what you'll see is, because in baseball more people are just going to naturally get playing time just because of the nature of the game. In softball, you really do have to work at it, to be perfectly candid with you, because if you've got a starting 9 or a starting 10, if you're using the DP flex, it can become very difficult to get those other players into the game, because that pitching position can be manned by one human.
Exactly.
And so you don't have to have the diversification on the field. So it becomes incredibly important for position players to be versatile on the softball field, because it's not as if, okay, Jimmy's pitching today, but he's going to be playing right field tomorrow. Those people can really get solidified, and you really got to work to get yourself on the field. That's also why you see rosters in softball so much more contained and smaller than in baseball. A lot of times you're going to see 12 to 14 players on a varsity roster for softball in high school, and that's more than enough.
Yeah, and that doesn't fly in baseball
No.
when it comes to 7 and 9 inning games.
Certainly.
And substitution without re-entry rules, and obviously you're trying to protect your pitches.
Mm-hmm.
And Billy made an allusion to this, a few minutes ago, of course, being kind of a neophyte in the world of softball and seeing that DP flex rule in action. And we didn't get a chance to really get too far into it today, although we know Coach Hatfield made use of it in allowing her to move around some of her defensive players, Kate. But that flexibility, obviously, with being able to have one player who's very strong offensively, who can hit the ball, and then match that person with a defensive player who's stronger and maybe not as great on the offensive side of the ball, allows you to then mix and match a little bit on the defensive side and have some flexibility to move people around. Maybe you could pair a really great hitter with a speedy player who's not great at hitting. You can bring that flex in to go in and run in certain circumstances.
Well,
so many different options you get using that rule, and not just having just 10 players in
Certainly.
the lineup.
And the interesting thing about the DP flex is that the situation that you just brought up is only one of a handful of ways to be able to use that. I very rarely, when I was coaching, used it, DP being the better hitter, flex being the better fielder. That's not how it translated to the personnel that I had. I used it primarily for flexibility within the pitchers. I liked to rotate my pitchers in even throughout a game if I had a battery. I had that opportunity where I was coaching at Shrewsbury. We had a number of pitchers, so
who could also hit.
Who could also hit.
Which is the benefit of having them both in the lineup.
So if you have an instance, unlike in baseball, if you have an instance where you have a pitcher who can hit, then you're not going to necessarily waste it for that purpose. So the beauty of the DP Flex as it is written is it's so versatile because you can use it for, to trade offense for defense. You can trade it for flexibility in your pitching game. You can, go right back down after your official lineup is in. You can go right back down to 9 to give you flexibility later on in the game. So it really is, in my estimation, it really does bring a whole nother level of dimensionality to the game of softball that, although we love baseball does not have quite that dimensionality, but it's one of the things that if you are, if you are willing to really get into the meat and potatoes of that rule, you can really, really use it effectively. And
as a student of the game, it sounds like you've done, from the coaching side, a lot of research on how to use that to your advantage based on your players' abilities and where you can take best advantage of that particular rule. Like you said, you like to use it at the pitcher spot. If you're flexing people in and out, it's not a one and done. You don't come out and then the rest of the game on the bench. I think it's a great way to keep the rest of the team engaged.
Certainly.
Indeed it is. 13-0. Leominster is a winner today over Fitchburg in Rivalry family media action here. Game softball. So happy to have you along with us as we continue our spring broadcast. This game will be available, obviously, Facebook Live in this delay broadcast. It'll be right here on Facebook Live. You can share it at Media Rivalry. You can find it on Twitter as well, at Media Rivalry as well. And the game's available on demand anytime. You search up Rivalry Family Media on YouTube. See this game and all of our past games that we've brought to you here throughout the winter and on into the spring. More action to come. You'll find that information on Twitter and Facebook as well. For my broadcast partners, Bill Thomas and Kate Robbins, I am Todd Robbins saying thank you so very much for being a part of our family. 13-0. Leominster, a winner over Fitchburg today. More action to come throughout the spring. From the Leominster Lassie League complex, we bid you farewell, and until next time, we say so long, everybody.